Hey YouTube, hey brothers and sisters. Okay, so it has been a while, as you all know. Many of you know that I had broke my femur and had to have surgery on it. And I've kind of been MIA. And I've been meaning to do this video since I got home from the hospital, but body issues, pains, and dealing with this has been a little taxing. So I'm going to give a testimony of how God worked in this tragedy in the midst of it all, and to encourage you guys to be able to stand firm against some of the stuff that is going on. So that morning, Bob and I had been up all night because of pain and stuff, and we were going to go to bed. I don't know, it was probably like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we got to talking about Jesus, and we ended up in a Bible study and a discussion, and when we do that, time goes by really fast, and the next thing we know, it's like 5 a.m. And we're like, oh, we need to go to bed. So, you know, we were getting ready for bed, and I had taken my pills that I take before I go to bed, to help with the spasms and stuff, so my body doesn't lay in bed and jerk and twitch because of my injury. And then I took my Benadryl for my sinuses, and I was like, I'm good to go. I'm going to go to bed now, right? Got my allergies in the summer and the spring, right? We're like, okay, we're all good. We're getting ready to go to bed. I go into the bathroom, and I'm like, okay. And I'm putting my shorts on for bed, and when I do, I pick my right leg up, and I go to pull my foot up over on my knee to put my shorts up on it, and my right leg spasmed up like this, right? Well, my right hip has a catch in it. It's got a lot of calcium and stuff going on in there, and that's gotten worse since the surgery. But so it doesn't always break over like it should, like just to rotate over to put my clothes on. Well, my leg spasmed like this. But when it did, I took my right arm and I pushed down, and my leg jerked. And when it did, the amount of force in my muscle in my legs when it did that is actually really strong. Like, literally grown men at the hospital were having trouble trying to keep my legs from being clamped together and spasmed, right? So when it did that and I pushed down, my femur actually gave way and broke. It twisted and it snapped. And when it did that, it broke it like this, like this. So there was like a 2-inch gap between my femur and then the bone where it connects into your knee on the other end of my femur. And so I was like, uh-oh. And Bob was in the kitchen, and he heard it snap from the kitchen, but he didn't know what it was. He thought I just dropped something. And I was like, uh-oh. And I finished getting my pants on, and I went, honey, something's not good here. This is not good. And I was like, I either dislocated my knee or I broke my leg. And he's like, what? No way. And so we went over to the bed, and I laid down, and I straightened my leg out on the bed. I got on my stomach and kind of straightened it out some to see, kind of to get an idea of what was going on. Just my knee, I could pop it back into place. And when I flipped back over, I looked at my leg and I said, oh, we're going to the hospital. It's broke or something. It's got to be fixed because this isn't right. And I was like, okay. And, we just really thought I'd dislocated my knee, like popped my knee out or something. And I was like, okay. So we get in the car, which was a trick and a half, and I'm supporting my leg the whole way there, like trying to keep it stable. And we're praying. We are praying because we know that let's see if I think I can do it this way. This is a big issue. And I know that anybody who has a procedure has to be tested for this. And I'm not going to be tested for this. And we had already predetermined in our minds beforehand. We're like, Yeshua, it's in your hands. We're going to ask you to make a way. And if not, then we're going to trust you to deliver and heal my leg. And we had already talked previously in days before about you know, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, where they were getting thrown in the fiery furnace, right? And they said, well, our God is able to deliver us. But even if he doesn't, I will not bow my knee. They would not bow to the statue of Nebuchadnezzar, right? And then Nebuchadnezzar gets angry, heats up the flame 7 times hotter, throws them into the fire, and behold, the 4th man shows up in the fire who looks like the Son of God. And they end up coming out of the fire, and they're not even smelling of smoke. But the guys who went to throw them in burned up trying to get them into the fire in the first place. And then Nebuchadnezzar realized that their God is the God. You know, there is only one God, and Yahuwah is him. So, Bob and I already predetermined this, but we've been praying. And I'm like, babe, it's going to be okay. God will make a way. He always has. Every time we've had to go to the hospital for my gallbladder or something, God made a way. I never had one of these tests. And never had, you know, this. And so I was like, it's going to be all right. We go to the hospital and we get in there, and it's probably about 15, 20 minutes. And the doctor says, all right, well, we're going to take an x-ray, see where we're at, and see what's going on. I said, okay. Now, mind you, the only thing I have in me was gabapentin and baclofen and a Benadryl, right? They've got no real, I didn't have any Tylenol or anything in me. Nothing at this point. And we go back, they take an x-ray, they come back out and said, doctor comes in and says, it's broke, they're going to have to do surgery on it. Well, he said, oh, okay. And so we asked doctor, well, are they going to have to, you know, try to do the surgery today or admit me? Or he says, well, because it's your femur and there is a blood vein that runs right behind there that goes into the back of your leg, we do not want that bone jabbing into that vein and causing you to bleed to death. He said, so, no, we're going to try to get it stabilized the best we can and splint it up, and then we'll admit you, and then they'll probably likely do the surgery tomorrow. I said, okay. Now, this poor doctor, he had spent, they splinted it up, and they got an x-ray to see if the bone was kind of where a better place that they could get it closer to being connected back to the other bone to set it, and took an x-ray, and he says, no, it's still like 2 inches away. That's not going to work. So he comes in there, and him and 4 other people are yanking and pulling on my leg, trying to get it because I have spasms, and they're really bad. And I have a lot of tone in my legs, and that is really bad. And now my leg is broke, so now everything is really mad, and it's extra jerky and spasmy. So this doctor's yanking and pulling on my leg. 45 minutes he stayed in there, taking different x-rays while they were pulling on my leg, trying to get it splinted up to put this, you know, like a 3/4 cast on my leg until the surgery so it would move. And the whole time we're in there, I'm talking to them about Jesus. And then I'm like, Jesus, can you send some angels to help this poor doctor to get, you know, my bone back in place where it needs to be so I'll be okay till surgery? And the doctor goes, thank you, we can use all the help we can get. And he said, you know, you're the only person I've ever had that's had a broken femur that we did not have to medicate to completely knock out so that we could do this. He was like, I've never seen that happen. And I can feel in my legs, because I have feeling in my legs, but it's not normal feeling. It's like I can feel the bone pain, but I can't feel the other pain around it, right? So, and I got like the tendons and stuff, I can feel that pain, but I can't feel like the muscle pain. It's weird. So while they're pulling and yanking on my leg, I can feel when the bone goes back up into place and then when it slides back out. So I'm like, it's in. He's like, oh good. And then my leg would jerk and I'm like, nope, it's out. And so we did this for 45 minutes or so, and the doctor finally gets it where he's comfortable, at least having it where it's at, splinted, and he says, well, this is going to have to work, and they'll get you in for surgery tomorrow. Okay. No big deal. So Bob, he steps outside to call his mom and dad, and to talk to them, and to let them know what's going on, and Dad's going to pray. Now, he's out there talking to them, telling them, we need to pray because we don't know when, but we know it's coming. That they're going to ask to test her for, oh, wrong way, this, right? So, and telling his mom, Dad, she's not going to do it. So we need to pray that God makes a way here. While he's out there, the nurse walks in and says, okay, it's time for your test. And I looked at her and I said, I'm not taking that test. And she says, well, if you don't, we can't admit you and we can't do your procedure. Nobody gets their admitted or their procedure done without it. And I said, well, then I guess I'm not getting it done and I'm going to trust Jesus to heal my leg because I'm not taking that. And she looked at me like, okay, I'm going to go talk to the doctor and I'll let you know. And I just kind of laughed. I was like, well, Jesus, it's in your hands. So we're either going to roll out of here today with my leg still broken and you're going to heal it, or I'll get admitted and they'll do the surgery and we'll be fine. Now, mind you, I have absolutely no symptoms of this fake thing. I'm in there because my femur is broken. Okay, it's clear. My femur is broken. It's two pieces, it's like snap in half. Okay, it's not, no, or sniffles or anything like that. I've got no fevers or nothing. I'm fine. And, the only thing they found was I have a bladder infection. I was like, okay. And I was like, I always have a bladder infection. I in and out cat. You don't get rid of them when you're in my situation. So I was like, okay, well, the nurse comes back in. Well, they're going to go ahead and admit you. I was like, thank you, Jesus. Bob came in. I told him, I said, you're not going to believe what happened while you were gone. He's like, what? I said, the nurse came in and said it was time for my test. And I just flat out told her no, not taking it. Because I worked in a hospital for a couple years before my accident, right? And I know all the HIPAA rules. I know all my patient rights, right? You need to know your patient rights. The rights of the patient. You have the right to refuse any kind of medical treatment. You have the right to refuse any kind of medical treatment. Right now, as it stands. Later, you may not have the right to refuse. Right now, you have the right to refuse. And I refused. And they still did the surgery. And they made it a little difficult for Bob to come see me because I wouldn't get this test. They wouldn't let Bob come up and visit me during visiting hours, which made absolutely no sense because he hadn't been tested for. And I'm like, there's no, and the nurses on the floor were awesome. And, they're like, no, we don't care. If he comes up, we'll just kind of sneak him in and let him get in here. So after I had my surgery, Bob came to the room and he stayed there with me for a while. And I got out, it was the next day or something. The day after I broke my leg, I had surgery the next day, and then the following day, I went home. So I was in the hospital, really 2.5 days, but 3 different days total. And every time somebody come in, I'd talk to them about Jesus. There was a wonderful lady at the hospital I was telling her about my accident and everything that God had done and how he saved me and dying and seeing Jesus. And she explained to me she had had a car accident and that she was on her way somewhere and she had gotten in a wreck and a semi-truck hit sideswiped part of her car and she literally went flipping end over end, and the truck driver just kept going. He never stopped. And she had said that her Jeep had rolled, and when she was able to get out of the Jeep and crawl out of the Jeep. Well, in the process of it rolling, she just said, Jesus, help me. And she felt like this warmth wrap around her. And she's like, she had a ball hitch in the back of her Jeep. And the ball hitch literally went by her head and smashed through the windshield. Had it been this much closer, it would have went through her head. She had like they were going to a potluck, had things of baked beans, like scalding hot baked beans in the back that went all over, but she barely had a little bit on her clothes. And she gets out, is able to crawl out of the vehicle. She said there was a man there, and he's an older gentleman, and she says, and I can't remember what she said he was wearing, but he had come up, and he was like a plumber. And she said he'd come up and asked her if she was okay, and he had gave her a rag because she had a gash on her hand, and gave her a rag to stop the bleeding. And when he had given her that, and then he had walked back like to his car or something, another lady pulled up who was also a nurse, and says, are you okay? And because Lady already was doing a trauma assessment on herself because she was an ER nurse, and this other lady says, are you okay? And they're checking her out, and she goes, where'd that man go? The nurse said, where'd that man go? And she goes, the lady who is in the accident said, where'd that man go? And she goes, what man? She goes, well, the man that gave me this rag. And the nurse that had seen the accident and stopped said, there was no man here. She goes, yes, there was. He gave me this rag. And it's like it's a rag, that plumbers or utility workers kind of thing, shop rag. She goes, I don't have anything like this in my car. And the other lady, who was also a nurse, says, there's no man that was here. You got that rag. You came out of your Jeep with that rag. And she says, no, I didn't. And so she knew that it was an angel, and that an angel had showed up and helped her, and that an angel protected her, and that Jesus had sent that angel to take care of her during that. So, guys, brothers and sisters, just encouragement. When you're being forced into this, whether it's the test or the, in the arm, we say no, 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 and no. I trust Jesus. I trust Yeshua with my life. Bob and I have already made that decision. Make that decision beforehand. You do not have to comply to what they say you have to. There is no, in our country, we have the right to refuse things. No. It's my right. My body, my choice. Yeah, it's my body, my choice. I'm choosing not to have that done. Just like you can choose not to have certain other tests or procedures done. You can choose if you have cancer not to have chemo or to take chemo, right? You can choose. The choice is yours. So you can choose whether, hey, I'm going to choose to have this person. How many people have chose to have their knees operated on, have a knee replacement, or they could choose to stay in the pain that they're in and just deal with the knee that they have, right? You get to choose. It's your body. So just like that, this is our body. We're choosing. And we're watching God show up. You have to trust Him. So we know that we can trust Him in these things. We can trust Him in the big things. We can trust Him with the small things. So no, come what may, with Bob's video with Jesus coming yesterday that he made at the dream, that was such an encouragement. And we got to share it with my son and his girlfriend this weekend when they were down. And it has just been, Yeshua is showing up and showing up and showing up and showing up and showing up. So brothers and sisters, we are still praying for you guys often and always. We thank you for your prayers for us, your love, your support, your encouragement. Things have been tough. Things aren't always as easy as we'd like them to be. We're all struggling in different areas, and Bob and I had often said, we wish Yeshua would bless us with $1 million so we could send it to all these people that we know need so much help. It's like we could just go help so many people. So we do what we can, and the rest we trust with Yeshua to help, right? Because He knows where we need to be at, and He knows what we need and when we need it before we ask, right? So trust Him. Trust Him in this too. Don't believe this fake lie they're telling you. They hijacked the flu, and now you're going to have a whole nother problem with the jab. And now you're like, what do we do? You know, because those people are going to get really sick. Really, really, really sick. I've watched it happening in my own family. My mother already had dementia before my sister and brother talked her into taking that. And now she can't have hardly a whole sentence out and forget what she's thinking about or saying. According to my kids, I don't talk to her. We pray for her and our families, but now is the time to be right with Jesus. If you're not willing to stand firm on this, how are you going to be willing to stand against anything else? You know, the people that say they're going to, oh, well, if, you know, I get left behind, I'll just stand against the Antichrist and I'll die. And if you're not willing to stand against this lie, how are you going to stand against the other lie? I'm just saying, peer pressure. They'll pressure you. They'll take everything from you. Everything. I'm talking your income, your housing, your cars, your cell phones. In Pakistan, they've already said they'll take your cell phone away. They're cutting off SIM cards to people who didn't get this thing. Think about that. Don't think it's not coming here? Don't be fooled. It is. Recognize the times that we're in. But anyways, I wanted to give you guys an update. Let you all see my ugly face today. I love you guys. And I'm so grateful for Bob being here. I really am. Like, I don't know what I would do without him. I really don't. And if this would have happened without him, I'd be completely at a loss right now, you know. So I am so, so grateful and so blessed. And we hope to be making more videos soon. Bob's, I think, got another one that God has kind of put on his heart something to say, or we may do a live stream. We don't know. We're kind of leaving it up to Yeshua and letting him guide us of when to do things, and we're going to try to be a little more prompt about doing it when he asks, like right when he asks, and not let things distract us, because that can be easily done, especially when you don't feel good and it's 100 degrees outside and everything hurts or you're nauseous and different stuff. So my blood pressure is still doing ups and downy things because of the blood thinners they put me on, so I don't get blood clots from breaking my femur. But I guess that's all. So I love you guys. Hope you guys have a blessed day. Continue to keep us in prayer. We'll continue to keep you guys in prayer. As always, our email's in the description box. If you guys need prayer for anything or have any questions, please feel free to shoot us an email and we'll get back to you as soon as we see it. Sometimes they don't come in right away or we don't get notified. I don't know what's going on there, but we will check. We do check them, and just let us know what we can do to be a blessing to you guys, just as you all are a blessing to us. So we thank you and we praise Yeshua for you, and may he bless you and cause his face to shine upon you. Talk to y'all later. Bye.